And now, Hangar 56 Media presents Spike's Car Radio, a downloadable cars and coffee, hosted by writer, comedian, and automotive enthusiast Spike Ferriston. Now, here's Spike.
Hi, everybody. Happy Wednesday. Not really a happy Wednesday, but Wednesday. Here we are, Spike's Car Radio, ready to deliver a show for you. Zuckerman's with me. We're going to be calling our friend Mr. Seinfeld, see how quarantine is going for him. Then we have Alexander Rossi and Conor Daly, Indy drivers, who are going to zoom in on a Zoom. So prepare for that sound quality issue and tell us what they're up to. I think they still have a season scheduled, Zuckerman, so it'll be interesting to see what's going on. Also, there seems to be some sort of virtual racing with them, which I don't understand how that works. So we'll get to the bottom of that. We'll chat with Jerry in a minute, find out what his quarantine is like. I have some car opinions, Zuckerman, about the quarantine. I, as you know, picked up our 992, the Aventurine green car, and immediately I'm bringing it back. I don't feel like it's the right quarantine driver. I've been enjoying the Targa. I think the right quarantine driver is a vintage car without a top. What's your opinion?
Okay, my opinion is that I agree with you to an extent, or something really raw. I think the 992 is the businessman's car. It is participating in the business world, which no longer exists. You've got your suit on, you've got your tie on, you've got your briefcase. You're going to court, you're going to the pitch, you're going to do business in the world business, in the world that is doing business, and we're not doing that right now. So it's incongruous. It is disconcerting. Incongruous, my friend.
Incongruous.
Cognitive dissonance. You need to have something that does not belong in what the world was like before.
Do you know how good? Well, first of all, the 82 Targa is such a winner. I don't know if we've even spoken about it on this podcast, but the idea that Mr. Seinfeld gave this car back to us is ridiculous. Remember yesterday he was texting us. He said, that's why I have 6 of them. But honestly, I don't understand why he didn't keep this and have 7. This car is so dialed in and perfect. I've been so happy in it. And this, what do they call that Porsche Bluetooth radio he put in there that they don't make anymore, the new one?
I have no idea what they call it.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
But it sounds great. I know what it is. It's a satellite something radio
that Porsche made for classic cars.
Right.
Right.
Why would they discontinue that? Why would they make it and discontinue
Because we didn't even want it. None of us really wanted it, but
it works.
It works. It's
and it
great.
Works great. It works great.
And so, I called both of you guys, or I was texting both of you guys the other day because I was driving down to get coffee and to meet my business partner to sit outside to talk about how we're going to deal with our development slate, whatever. And I put Van Morrison on in that Targa, and it was sunny, and it was 75, and I was in heaven. It's like 8 in the morning. I'm dying. And I texted you, right? And I said, because I noticed this is not 1982 sound quality.
Not at all.
Right? And it's not just that system. The speakers were you didn't do anything to the speakers when you owned this car.
I didn't do anything, but the speakers have to be somehow renewed.
Man, so getting back to, I think, my original point, top off, old car, Van Morrison. It was such an antidote moment for this horrible thing we are all in right now.
Guess
right?
what? When I switched with you, and we drove out to Bill's the other day, and I was driving that car, Glenn Frey, Smuggler's Blues came on. And I have to tell you, I had not really listened to that song, and I had not listened to that song on a good stereo and really listened to it. And he was jamming on that song, and that song was a cliche at some point in the late 80s, early 90s. It's a good fucking song, and it was perfect for flying up the coast, maybe exceeding the speed limit with the top down, maybe by a lot. And it was really a great moment.
I see so many amazing cars on the road right now. Remember that Maserati we saw just sitting on the side?
Absolutely.
What is that?
That was an early 60s, 61, 62, 3500 GT.
Oh, that was. Coupe. Right.
It was a coupe. And so it was
in a light blue metallic, sitting by itself on the side of the road.
Like a cloud.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
Perfectly
stunning.
restored. It really is. It's the only bright spot of this whole thing, I think. I mean, I guess there are a few. You can look past the corny stuff of hanging with your family and baking and everything else. But the classic car drive has never been better than this. Right? Because it eliminates the car show, which is, guys in cargo shorts standing around. Yeah, you know what year that is, the right mirror and everything. It eliminates that. We just have a pure driving experience going on. So with a lot of good cars around.
You're an optimist. I'm saying that's picking the corn out of the shit and making a meal out of it. That's about...
I don't disagree with you, sir. I am not an optimist. I'm just saying there is... Yeah.
Anybody listening, we're picking corn out of shit and trying to make a meal out of it. Otherwise, it's just shit.
Oh, God. I wonder if anybody's actually ever done that. That's horrifying. But there's good TV, right?
Corn.
Look, we're all staring down the barrel of a horrible gun right now. Everybody's going broke. We're all screwed. If you get caught with all these cars, at least you have the cars to drive. They might not be worth anything, but at least you got them to drive, right? And then we enter the Mad Max scenario. That's what's next, right? Where we put on the dirty
last
clothes.
Of the V8 Interceptors.
What's that?
Remember the line, the last of the V8 Interceptors.
So get your hockey mask together and tear your clothes and dirty up your face. You don't have to take a shower. That's where we're going next. And then, Matt Farah's safari car kind of makes sense, finally.
Matt kind of makes sense, finally.
And Matt kind of makes sense.
Finally, Matt Farah's in his element.
By the way, Johnny Lieberman was on last week and was talking about how Matt Farah kept saying, come podcast. His wife wouldn't let him do it because Matt would not respect the boundaries. Which I'm not sure. I'm sure he is doing that, but I'm just saying that's what the wife was saying would probably happen. But Bill, our friend at the Malibu Kitchen, was listening to that moment on the podcast while he made cookies and baked in the back of his store, and Matt Farah came in and broke the 6-foot barrier with him. And it was at the moment that Johnny Lieberman was saying Matt Farah probably wouldn't adhere
but
and
then
honor the barrier.
If you took those three guys
Who's
can
that?
probably Johnny Lieberman, Matt Farah,
Yes.
and William Stanley Miller. Those three guys probably could win some sort of Olympics of expectorating droplets. Who can further project virus droplets? Of those three, who would be the furthest projector?
Well, we love them all. We wish them well. I'm going to call Jerry Seinfeld up. Let me see if I can find his number here. This is going to be fun.
Let's share it with the audience.
You want? They've got nothing to do. They could call Jerry too. Let me see.
He's just sitting there, Rosebud.
What's that?
He's just sitting in his castle right now.
Let's see if he can be the first guy to pick up.
Rosebud.
Now you're going to have to talk a little quieter because I've got the splitter on.
Do it first.
I hear a ring. I'm going to put the headphones on to make sure the sound is okay.
Dude?
Jerry Seinfeld.
Are we on?
We're on.
We're here.
Let's go.
What do you got?
I was just reading my February 1969 issue of Road and Track.
Oh, yeah.
And what was in it?
You know what's so great? You pick up these magazines. There's always some insane thing in there. You know those tiny little ads in the back. Vic Elford would like to sell his Porsche 910 Works race car.
No way.
Yeah, no price. But his name and address there. So funny.
You should call and try and buy it. I just saw your ad, Vic.
I just got around to it.
Does that same price you advertise still hold? Well, how are you doing? First, tell us how you're doing, Mr. Seinfeld. Are you safe?
Everyone's all right. You know, people like us, we're fine. There's a lot of people struggling, but we don't need to ask. There's a certain group of people that do not need to be asked, how are you doing?
and who are those?
I'm in that group.
Okay.
We are not.
The entire I realized the entire globe is turned into Whitey Bulger. We now know we're all doing his thing.
Hiding in the apartment in Santa Monica with a box of money.
Yeah.
Except no one is looking for us.
Yeah, just stay home, take quiet little walks. Don't get involved with people.
This is why you're a genius, Jerry.
Yes, we are all Whitey Bulger. I think we have our new Blip Shift shirt. That is fantastic.
But I had a nice long morning drive in my 59 356 GS Carrera. It's a sunny morning out here in the east end of Long Island. And so I took a nice long drive, which I kind of do that every day. That's kind of, I'm very fortunate to have that ability to go for little drives. And well, you guys are doing that too, right?
We were just discussing what the perfect car for a quarantine drive is. And I had noticed I picked up the 992 yesterday, and now I'm bringing it back in favor of the open-air Targas and the Speedsters. That there's something.
It has to be a manual. You have to have a manual.
Yeah.
It occupies your mind more than an auto box.
The 992 is a businessman's car, and we're not in business any longer.
No.
But I also find just open air gives you, at least for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, I feel like nothing's wrong, that the air is fine. There's nothing in it. I don't have to worry. Life is
we don't know that either, though. What if you ever think of it as a tiny particle just hanging there waiting for me to drive into it?
It's going to drip on your head like bee shit.
Hits you in the eye.
Oh, God.
COVID eye. No, I don't think about that. If I'm going to get it, I'd rather get it like that. That would make me happy. But
what is your opinion, both of you lads? What is your opinion on the celebrities to the rescue culture?
Oh, boy, Zuckerman, I can see under your face.
Huh?
It's just one more thing I don't need right now.
That's right. Yeah, it's really horrifying.
But I think some people liked it. Some people felt uplifted by it.
Mickey Rourke singing children's stories, or
Johnny Depp talking with an English accent.
Right. Johnny Depp stories for children. Mickey Rourke sings Imagine. No, I think this is desperation on the part of celebrities for attention.
Relevancy.
And it shows itself. I mean, even the concerts and you were saying that, seeing everybody's living rooms and where they live, and the horrors of that, and the soufflés that fall when we see that moment.
It's like a close. I remember one time when during I think it was the 2004 presidential campaign, there was the shot of George W. Bush's shoes in the middle of making a speech, just the shoes.
It's the little bottle of water moment.
Yeah. It brings all these people that they're supposedly living on another plane. We see, they're not living on another plane. They're just kind of schmucky too.
Yeah. And we're okay taking a break, I think, from all of the TV shows. I don't think we really need to see somebody in their garage. I mean, who's watching any of it? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know who's watching any of it.
I went on Netflix and I watched Road to Perdition, which is only a 20-year-old movie. But it's a different world, a 20-year-old movie. The attention they lavished on that movie, the movie making quality. Hanks was wrong for the role, but there's so much money was pumped in, so much attention to detail.
Yes, that's true. That was back in the day when they still thought movies mattered, and these kind of faded yellow morality tales are going to have resonance.
Faded yellow
fantasy world.
You nail it again.
Are you riding your Sondor's electric bike?
I ride it. I ride it down to the end of my property, which isn't very far. But it's a phenomenal machine. What a machine! But I can't imagine being let loose on it out in public. I feel like it's too fast. It could really. It looks like it's another dentist finger, isn't it?
No, it's a motorcycle that goes 25 miles an hour. That's what it is.
It's a motorcycle.
But when I'm on it in the middle of a disaster, the fires last fall, and now I don't know. It feels good. It's Mad Maxy in that way. It's the right vehicle to be on, and those big fat tires, which I think were designed for beach sand, really make the thing stable on the street. In some ways, a lot more stable than a heavy motorcycle. Like I go down my hill where I live without hands on the steering wheel, just sitting upright.
Wow.
I can text. It's that stable. Look at Zuckerman.
And going down the hill. I love the name. It sounds like a medication I want to be addicted to.
Sondors.
Sondor for sleep.
Do not take Sondors if you have diarrhea.
Yes. Alcohol may intensify the effect.
No, I find that thing incredible. But it shouldn't go faster than it really is. It really is a perfect apocalypse mobile. Where do you think? What are you doing with cars right now? Are you moving forward with?
I'm as you know, because we keep very close tabs on each other. I have dipped into a very heavy early '60s VW bug phase.
Dick Homer.
Yeah, the Dick Homer, which
What
is
is
a
the
German
Dick Homer?
word that means thick pillar. And that's all I want to say about that.
Hit you with my Dick Homer.
So that's real? You guys weren't just joking about... That's the German word for thick pillar. Dick Homer.
Yeah.
That's like...
When they went from 64 to 65, they enlarged the windows and they trimmed the A and the B pillars for better visibility. And I don't know why. I just get into, sometimes it just pulls me in. I could go 18 months I can go 2.5 years, and I get completely bored by VW bugs, and then I become obsessed with them. It always comes back. It's like a wave cycle. And I just love the survivalist. It was a survivalist car. Speaking of it was a Mad Maxy car for post-war Germany, wasn't it? It was like, how can we survive? How can we keep going? Wait, we know how to make cars. And they had this fascinating, remarkably practical design that was left over from the 30s. And they just started making them. And then of course, the story that the Jewish ad agency, Bill Bernbach from Brooklyn, who comes up with the idea of selling it with humor, that this car needs humor. And from Hitler to the Jews in Brooklyn, it's just such a great story. It's an amazing car story.
So you're buying them up by the dozens? Is that what's happening?
I have really focused in on 63, which is also the Herbie year.
Right.
It had that look of it was so anthropomorphic in 1963. It really did look like it could come to life. It had such a kind of humble, friendly appearance about it.
And where are you finding these 63 VW bugs?
Google. I just Google it.
Idle hands is the devil's workshop.
It is a really good time. I mean, it's not a good time. Again, so my neighbor showed up in my driveway the other day, and he said, I've been meaning to talk to you about my next lease. And I said, what's the point? You're not doing anything. He goes, turn it in. He goes, what am I going to drive? Why are you driving? He goes, good point. He goes, we have one car in the driveway. We don't use it. I just let them all go. Like, the business side of things is evaporating, but the collector side, this boredom with guys like us, I've been hunting like crazy.
Hannah Elliott wrote an article in Bloomberg that the collector market is still relatively functional.
Really?
Yeah, there's nothing else to do. I mean, at least the hunting part, you may not feel, confident enough to spend any money or comfortable enough, but the looking, right?
I'm hot on a 288 GTO. The last thing I need right now. Yes.
Oh, those are the
What
greatest.
are you looking at, Z?
A 288 GTO.
They're
Hence
the
my
best.
question to you the other day.
Well, now one is going to come to you.
It's an amazing car. I haven't driven that many Ferraris, but I've driven 250s. I have. I've driven GTOs and Testarossas, and I drove Spike's Dino. But that 288 has a build quality that is very 959-ish. It's just because it came out around the same time.
Competition.
What was the other car that came out? The F40 was really their super hypercar of the late 80s. But the 288, which precedes it, that's a twin turbo V8, isn't it?
That's correct.
It's so solid. It's such a solid
It
feeling.
gets that look, that aesthetic that they were doing at that time with 308, 328s. The 288 nails that look like no other car.
Yeah, but it's not like those cars at all. In the same way, a 959 has nothing to do with a 911.
Exactly.
There's a blue one. I can't Google it right now because we're recording off the phone. But if you ever see this like French, I think it's French blue. 288.
Wow.
This thing
I didn't know they did them in anything but red.
I've only seen one. And then I remember a few years ago just driving down Pico and seeing a 288 just cruising on the road. It was one of those moments where you just look over and go, holy shit, what a car. What a perfect car. Yeah, Zuckerman.
Yeah, it's a super car. I drove one with Tracy Morgan in the episode of Comedians.
Why are you laughing,
Because
Zuckerman?
it would really be the lid closing on my coffin. Just close the lid on the
dancing.
coffin.
Dun, 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 dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun,
those
dun,
guys in
dun,
Africa
dun,
dropping
dun,
the coffin.
dumping you into a 288. That's exactly what that would be. I don't think Jerry gets the reference, but yeah, let's do it. What the hell? This is the end. This is the end. This is the end. It all ends right now.
Right.
No, it's just the end of a chapter in a book.
I don't know. My very first Russian client once said, I said, why are you guys that grew up in the Soviet Union so cynical? What's the mindset? And he said, everything in life is shit except for piss. And he goes, and that's how I feel right now. Yes.
Yeah, no, we're not going to be defeated by this little virus. Not at all. The car business is really an interesting. Jerry goes, well, it is the one satisfying thing to watch on TV is the people protesting the virus right now because it's a problem that's going to take care of itself.
Oh, yeah.
Alex Jones meets everybody and high fives them and just wait 2 weeks.
It is the moments. The Nathan Hale, was it Nathan Hale? Give me liberty or give me death? Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, here's both.
Always wondering for that line to make sense. When is that line going to make sense?
Here's both.
Now.
They are having both in that moment. Here you are. Liberty and death is yours. Seinfeld is on today. He's on all the way from Long Island. Love it. This is great. Have you ventured out?
Are you guys together, or is everybody separate?
We're in Cotner 2, separated by 6 feet and open garage doors. But we are essential media. We are allowed to continue broadcasting. But taking
And Spike, what are you obsessing on car-wise right now?
well, everything from G-Wagons to old motorcycles, CB750s. I'm all over the place. I'm really just trying to old Land Rovers, stuff that's sitting in England from my favorite dealers there, stuff that's just been restored, green old Land Rover Series 2As. Just, looking around, I think like everybody wondering, are there deals now or, in a lot of ways, the new car market, like I was looking into G-Wagons with Dean, they're up. Because there aren't many of them around. So everybody's competing for the same cars. And the old cars, I haven't noticed that much of a dent in prices just yet. But maybe in a month, maybe.
New G-Wagon or old G-Wagon?
The new one. The brand new.
Yeah, the new one is an awesome car.
They quoted me $25 over sticker.
They're sticking to it.
And they had no available cars. So there you go.
And they're not making any.
No.
Nothing.
The old ones are pretty great too. I have I think it's like a 2013 or something that I just can't sell. In fact, I just have it parked in front of my house, and just because every time I walk by it, I go, "Boy, that's just a tight little package."
Yeah,
I like the cleanliness of it.
Right. Yes. No, I totally agree.
The new one is it's very Range Rover-ish. It's really got its hair combed and its pants hemmed, and it's
eyes wide open.
Yeah, a little pocket square.
Have you driven it?
I own it.
Oh, you do? So you've got the 2013 and the new one?
Yeah.
Completely different drive.
Yeah, completely different.
Wow, interesting.
And like it's really very similar to your 3.2 Carrera or your SC versus the 992. Which car would you rather have? Well, it depends on what mood you're in.
Right. Wow.
Very interesting.
So the SC has reemerged as a favorite.
Absolutely. The 82. And did you ever notice in that 82 when you owned it how high you sit in it? That car,
yeah, they're all like that.
And
they are.
We can really, because we took a look at Will Hoyt, the Will Hoyt 83, the sports seat, the actual part you sit on is about an inch and a half to 2 inches set down from the side bolsters and of the seat, and the 82 is much higher.
It is much higher. You're right. Yeah. You're sure about that, Jerry?
Well, I have 3 of them. I have a Pacific Blue 83 SC, which is what prompted me to sell you guys back the metallic blue one. And that's the same driving position, I think.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a fantastic car. I think Sam told us that he attributes it to the fuel injection that they were using at that time, that it's so springy and eager.
What is that dinging noise?
Yeah, when they went to the, whatever the different system is, it would save gas, but it was less responsive.
I'm going to send you, I was just, speaking of old articles, I read Car and Driver's review of the 83 911 Cabriolet and how that came about. And at that point, Car and Driver was calling it really a dinosaur, an ancient kind of a car. And then that was still fantastic. But then their description of the new 3.2 Carrera, they described it as a bullet, as a car that had evolved and was now bullet-like. And 0 to 60 in 5.2 seconds was considered to be a bullet at that time.
Right.
But their enthusiasm, the way they write about these cars in the period, the 83 SC or the 84 3.2 Carrera, the way that they praise the car is really interesting. Their style of writing about the cars was really nicely done. Very enthusiastic.
Yeah, they really wrote in those days. I don't know why. I pulled out this huge stack of old magazines and I've spread them all over my office here, and I just keep picking them up. And that's why in the 70s, that was my second choice. If I couldn't make it in comedy, I wanted to write for one of these magazines. There was some very good writing in those days. It was funny. It was very literate, and not like today, which is all rubbish.
Yeah, what happened? What happened to the writing? It was so enjoyable to read the articles that I was reading last night from 83 and 84.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. I guess nobody cared, and the people that could write got real jobs in television or something.
Yeah, perhaps.
I don't know.
Here's an interesting thing about the 82 Targa. The color elevates the experience.
I agree.
Since I am in love with this color. Is it just blue metallic or light blue metallic?
It's light blue metallic.
Light blue metallic.
The color elevates the experience. So I'm possibly feeling this is the number one car that I drive. I mean, I've had such unbelievably strong driving experiences in it. You know that as we're leaving Santa Monica Airport and you get on the PCH early in the morning, there's that moment where you just kind of exhale and go, like that.
Yeah.
I'm having intense moments like that in that car with the backdrop of the pandemic and then the sunny days and then the empty PCH. But the car, the radio, the song choice, and then just that little bump from the color out the windshield and the hood, it's changing. It's the one car for me. Like I told Zuckerman,
you're skipping over the most essential element of the experience that is affecting your whole kineticism.
Yes.
The targa top, the airflow of the targa top, and it gives you that sense of speed without batting you around.
Yes.
That's what it's about. The targa top. You have never really had a targa except for that 914.6.
The 914.6 was the only one. No, and the Dino too, the 246 GTS.
Yeah, that's true. The Dino.
Yeah. But it's really delivering. And you know that we told you that the bushings went out and we had those replaced, and it's all you hear now is humming engine. Just perfect humming engine. The car is 14,000 original miles on it, so there are no creaks anymore. It's perfection. It really is perfection. It reminds me of your 71, Jerry.
The 71.
Just a time traveler. Just you're going back to 1971 and you're driving something right out of the factory. That's what this 82 car is.
People say you can't drive
it's
color,
really
but
great.
you can drive
You
color.
can drive color.
And
You absolutely can.
And I believe color enhances and the year of manufacture
It's a
enhances.
small percent, though.
But
It's
icing.
5% or
It's
less,
definitely
down
icing.
or up. It's not everything, but it definitely helps or hurts.
It can be more. I have that white 89 Speedster with the navy blue canvas top that I bought from Sam.
Yeah.
You know how many 89 Speedsters I've had? I've probably had 6 of them over the years. But this one, because it's white with a blue canvas top, to me is the best one.
Yeah, right.
It's just the color.
It's the color.
Just the color.
The car has to be dialed in just right, and then the color does the enhancement trick.
Well, I got into your 66 Chevy, which is black all over the place. And suddenly I'm tough guy Ben Affleck, right? You can feel the color wrap around you. And, and that's, it seeps. I'm very reactive to color.
Just make sure it's the
car
tough
like
guy
to drive
Affleck
it.
and not any of the other Afflecks.
That's right. Pudgy cake-eating Affleck, smoking cigarettes.
Child molesting. I didn't say that.
No, what? He's not a child molester. That's not true.
Is that an automatic or a stick? That
Stick,
Nova?
my friend.
Yeah, 4-speed.
But Spike has a
Wow.
point. He'd rather have that car in automatic, and I can see that.
I've had some dicey moments in it trying to stop.
Just coming up to a red light is dicey.
I was gonna gun it through a yellow until I noticed our fine officers from the LAPD on the other side of the intersection. This is right, Jerry, right on the bridge on Sunset over the 405.
Right.
And I
yeah.
just came sliding up to the red line like this. Smoke sideways, and they're just looking at me, and I just waved. Yeah, how you doing?
Drum brakes.
Drum brakes that pull to the right, not a Porsche.
Little
Boy, was-
apple pan sized aluminum pie pan brakes. So what year is that car?
66.
66. And what was the first? Wasn't that? So that was a Chevy 2.
Yes.
And then did they rename it the Nova and the kind of
Yes.
and
It was
facelifted it?
It was earlier in the first version. They had Nova as a trim style, and you could get a Nova nameplate on the first versions. And then it became a Chevy 2, and then in 69 they just called it a Nova again. So that's why we always think of this car as a Nova. And it was bought brand new. I think I may have told you this, in West Virginia. this car, and you can see on the original owner's manual, the guy was penciling out his monthly payments. He was dividing 48 into the price. It was something like $48 a month. You could see the guy was really worrying about, could he mine enough coal to get that $48 a month to pay for it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a fantastic.
What's the mileage on the car?
You know, I don't know.
It's just one of those cars. It just looks
one
great.
One of those cars.
You know, the 64.
And it's original or it's restored?
It's been restored, but there's these cars. It's an L79, which means that somebody checked the box to get the small block 327 Corvette engine in this car. So that's why I say it's an exquisite shit box, right? It's got the engine is fantastic, the shifting is fantastic, the steering vague steering would be a compliment to its steering capability, and the braking is non-existent.
Rib smashers.
Why don't you upgrade the brakes? That's ridiculous.
That's a good point. So if you want to keep the original look of those very small pizza cutter tires, you can't upgrade the brakes. So if you go to so you have to then have different wheels and tires set up to go to disc brakes. So you're changing the look.
And there's no way to sort those brakes?
There's no way to sort the drums. The drums just stink. They don't work very well.
All right.
You stop eventually.
You really have to plan ahead.
I like the greenhouse element of the interior. I left my son in there while I went to.
Very glassy.
Yeah, I went in to get some groceries. I left my son in the car. When I was walking back and looking in there, and then just driving, the visibility is just perfection in that car.
Right, roll over,
well,
head
G-Wagons are similar that way.
But
just the rectangular, it's like an aquarium on your head.
Old Land Rovers are like that too. From the Range Rovers from the 80s are beautiful. You sit up high, like your waist is about the same height as where the window is on the door.
Right.
Things that don't happen anymore because of crashes and you flying out that window. Right. But when you get in there, you just notice this greenhouse effect, like I'm in a glass bubble, which is lovely, right?
Right.
Not necessarily safe.
There's no B pillar, and the A and C pillars will collapse on you if you roll over. Your car will be a convertible, and so will you.
Okay, now, by the way, motorcycle riding this time is also good, Zuckerman, and I know you look down on me, but the roads are empty. I took the Triumph out the other day. It was amazing. Again, life-altering drive. I felt so good on that thing. And, you go to cross Sunset. You know where I live, right? You go to cross Sunset. There's nobody there. It's just empty. There's no one there. You just cross over.
Rolling my eyes, Jerry. I like motorcycles. I just got in 3 motorcycle cases. Some guy lost all of his toes on his left foot. How would you feel?
Are people still crashing? Are you still getting business?
Not as much, but surprisingly, people seem to not be able to stop for red lights right now. They're missing the other cues of other traffic upon the roadway. There's no one on the road, no one at all. They don't see red lights.
They don't see red lights?
Yep, they go right through.
Wow. What about where you are, Jerry? Are there people on the road out there, or the road's just open?
Yes, there's a lot of, kind of wandering druids along the roadside. Kind of hunkered up, hoodie-shirted couples and with dogs, and they're all walking at the exact same speed, and they're all in the exact same mood. That's the interesting thing. I've never been alive at a time where the entire planet is in the same mood.
Not everybody.
Not everybody, right?
Not Alex Jones and his friends. They're in a different mood.
Give me liberty or give me death.
Give me liberty or give me death.
No, give me liberty and give me death.
And give you death. Genius. Seinfeld's genius observations. What is it like?
So, you're up to date. You know that I won the Bring a Trailer auction on the 77 metallic Bahama Blue VW Bug last year of German production, 800-mile all-original car.
What? No, we are not
when
up
did
to
that
date
happen?
At all.
Yeah.
That happened last week. I'll send you the link. and I'm expecting delivery of the car next week.
Seinfeld in quiet speed.
Wow. Bring a trailer, an essential business. Still.
Yeah, bring a trailer.
So how does that work? You bought the car. I guess it's from the seller. It's not at BAT headquarters. So the seller just loads it up on a truck and sends it to you.
Yeah. Terrific guy. I forget his name, but we had a nice chat after the sale.
Wow.
And he's had the car for a while. It was really worth more, but the bidding was weak. I bought it for $26,000. And but 800-mile car in a very unusual color.
The Bahama yellow.
Yeah, metallic Bahama blue. I'll send you the
metallic Bahama blue. Wow.
Fantastic.
But you can look it up on Bring a Trailer.
Yeah.
Will you be sending him a bonus check? Do you feel guilty?
After the end of the shutdown, yes, I will be extending the payments.
By then, we'll own that car, Zuckerman.
Yeah.
Because that's the other part of this cycle. He buys all the Volkswagen Bugs, and then he hands them out like business cards to his friends.
Birthday presents.
Here, just take this Beetle. Just take the Beetle. Go ahead. Take my Beetle.
Like roses on The Bachelor.
Well, this has been fantastic, Jerry.
Fantastic.
The listeners have been dying to hear from you since the infamous and wonderful 917 show with Sam Cabiglio. We have to do another one of those once we all get back together and hear a couple more origin stories from some of the amazing cars you guys have bought.
The 59 GS story is a really fantastic
we'll
story.
recap that
that's
one.
That's a good story, yeah.
Because that was fantastic, and Sam was a great storyteller too, and hopefully we'll all be together soon, hanging out and drinking coffee and talking cars in person.
All right. Enjoy the Targa.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you for selling it to us.
Keep me posted on the 288 GTO.
There we go.
There
That's
we go.
what we're going to.
The coffin lid on my life.
Dun. All right. When we come back, we will have Alexander Rossi and Conor Daly, Indy drivers, to hear what's going on with them. All right. Obviously, this virus is on everybody's mind. You wondering what you can do about it? Well, coreresponse.org. That is Sean Penn's operation, is doing a lot of great work here in California. They're opening testing sites. They're manning those testing sites with volunteers. They're doing that so the Los Angeles Fire Department can get back to work protecting you. They're doing great work in Malibu. As you've probably heard, testing. It's all about testing. They're getting the job done. Sean Penn, coreresponse.org/COVID-19. Go to the site, check it out right now, especially if you're in California, and donate, or you know what? Donate your time. Assume some risk and help everybody out by working at one of these testing sites. Again, coreresponse.org/COVID-19. And remember, Sean Penn gave us the Falcon and the Snowman. We owe him our helping hand.
You're listening to Spike's Car Radio.
All right, we're back with Alexander Rossi and Conor Daly, zooming in on Zoom. So forgive the audio quality. I can tell you what they look like right now. Mr. Rossi has a black and white Ansel Adams type ski background photograph behind him, and a nice cap on. And Conor, what are you drinking there, Conor?
Very healthy kombucha beverages because we're fighting the diseases.
Kombucha is going to help you.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you want to make sure your probiotics are there.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Are these beards you have, gentlemen, just the beards that existed before quarantine, or are these quarantine beards?
I've always had one.
Yeah, mine is extra lumberjacky and very ginger. The sun is coming out now in Indiana for the first time all year, so it's in about a few days I'll turn into a leprechaun and start running away with Lucky Charms cereal. So watch out.
Is that where are you guys right now? Rossi, where are you? Are you
Indiana?
You are. So everybody's hunkered down in Indiana.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's okay. As Conor said, the sun just came out, but it's weird because it's like 70 degrees right now, and it's going to snow at the end of the week. So it's great.
It's odd, huh? So you're hunkered down in your various. You're not at the track at all, right? You're not allowed to get in cars and run.
Man, we're not allowed to do anything. We can't even really be on simulators. our careers have taken the path of virtual iRacing and competing on the internet in fake race cars.
You seem really happy about that.
Yeah, I'm not that happy about it, but hey, it's something that we got to do. And at the end of the day, we're the only sport really on the planet that can actually have their athletes compete against each other in a platform that people can watch. So NASCAR, IndyCar, Formula One, we're all kind of doing it, and at least it gives the sponsors some sort of kind of representation to the general public.
Now, Conor, you're a gamer. So explain to me, the father of a gamer, that I play Counter-Strike and I like GTA 5, but this virtual league that you just mentioned here, is this a new system that Indy put together? Tell me what we're talking about here and how people watch it.
Yeah, so it's fairly new for sure. NASCAR they kind of started it. They had an e-sports series already going that was doing quite well, and actually I was paying attention to it. Very, very cool to see kids getting a shot who are really good at this game. And Formula One has the same thing. Formula One has legitimate teams, the same teams, Williams, McLaren, Renault, whatever it is, and they also draft in drivers to drive for their team. So IndyCar, we're a little bit smaller when it comes to staff, people, just in general. And so, I think there's a lot that we've got to focus on in making our race series continue to grow. But now that there was really nothing to do and we couldn't do anything, it was a great opportunity to kind of focus on the esports side. So yeah, we have iRacing to use. iRacing has a great IndyCar model for that some of us think is great. I think that it's tough for others. I'm a very feel dependent driver. I have to feel everything through the seat of my pants, as they say, and I can't do that at all when I sit in an IKEA kitchen table chair with a steering wheel mounted to a glass desk. So that's tough for me. But not a lot of sensation coming through the wheel or pedals there. But yeah, it is what it is. It's a great game, great graphics. We can put all of our sponsors on the car. We can broadcast it live to the entire internet and the world of folks that want to see something other than nothing. And we're going to keep trying to do it and put on a good show.
And when do these races take place?
They're every Saturday afternoon, man. So our first one was 3 weeks ago. It was at Watkins Glen, and then the second one was at Barber. So they're kind of trying to follow along the schedule as best as they can with the tracks that they have available. Last weekend, or the weekend before that, was Michigan, then Motegi, which is a track in Japan, and then this weekend, we're actually racing at COTA, at Circuit of the Americas, which would be the actual track we would be racing at next weekend. So they're trying their best to kind of emulate and create some sort of schedule that we would have had otherwise. But as Conor said, I mean, it's very interesting because there's a lot of performance that comes from people's different equipment and their
Wi-Fi speed,
their Wi-Fi speed,
yeah.
Their level of just desire to do it. Like it's crazy how much lap time you can find just by spending money on steering wheels.
And so, go ahead. I just want to know, but what am I looking at? Like, if I were to just come into where you're living while you're doing it, are you in a cage? Are you in a real driving simulator, or do you just have the wheel clipped onto the desk? And What was that? Are you all right?
The dogs are attacking someone, I think.
Oh, okay.
There is a very wide variety of simulator setups. I think mine would be the most poor people type version. And then there's like Simon Pagenaud, who is wearing his race suit with a 3-screen setup in a seat that moves, and he's got his engineer.
His engineer
broadcasting live on Facebook right there.
Really?
Next to him. And it's wild. But I mean, for a lot of these simulator companies, it's a great opportunity to to help out some drivers and potentially get their, equipment out there, because I know that there are a lot of people like buying simulator stuff because there's literally nothing else to do. And it is fun. I am not a racing game guy. Admittedly, I'm not a racing game guy, but it is quite enjoyable when you can gather up all these other, IndyCar fellas and that are sitting around at home and kind of, start talking a bunch of crap to each other and racing internet vehicles.
Yeah, I've been doing it at my house with my 12-year-old. He's got Forza, and they wanted the pedals and the steering wheel. And last night he was trying to get me to come in and race him in a GT3 RS. By the way, just wiped my ass completely destroyed me on the track. But he's got all of this steering feel added to the steering wheel. So when you go off the track or you hit the apex of the turn too hard, the wheel jiggles to give you a feel. And I keep telling him, I'm like you, Connor. It's like, this isn't what a race car feels like when you're going around a track. And it throws me off every time. Those are my excuses, at least, while I'm getting destroyed by him in lap time.
I think the one thing that Connor kind of alluded to that fans are actually also getting a kick out of is like, I think a lot of the fans have keyed in really quickly, which is good for our benefit, that this is like not real, right? That it's very fake, it's very virtual. And so Connor actually kind of has his Twitch channel. And so myself and a couple of other guys are on it. And I think fans are enjoying almost like the commentary and the trash talk that we're having amongst ourselves as much, if not more, than the actual race itself. So it's kind of cool to give fans, I guess, a little bit of a different perspective as kind of who we are behind the wheel type of thing.
Right.
But it is fun to kind of go out in a fairly no pressure environment and just have fun and make fun of other people.
So are you saying that these are the types of things that you say in the car when you're doing the real racing?
You might think them.
Definitely not.
Wow.
There are some people, it is so wild. I think that is honestly the most entertaining part. There is some really good racing going on. Like there's been some great racing on the ovals. I think the road course racing is boring and terrible, but that's only because I'm not very good at it. And if I only use one pedal on my desk, it's way easier than both pedals. it's hearing Will Power and like multi-time IndyCar champions, Indy 500 champions, just literally ripping each other to shreds, calling each other wankers, all this stuff. And just like that never happens like on the TV broadcast.
Yeah.
It's just essentially almost an open mic with a bunch of us who are, lashing into each other. And it's very hilarious, I think.
But some guys take it so much more serious than others. Like Connor, James, and I, like we try. Like, I'll be honest, we try. We give it a good effort. But like, at the end of the day, there's guys that are literally like doing data analysis with their engineers and have their entire engineering team like hooked up to their intercom system so that they're kind of making strategy decisions during the race. And it's kind of like, should we pit now? Yeah, that sounds like a good idea. Sure.
Is there any money awarded for these races? No.
There's nothing.
Absolutely not.
There's nothing. There's just pride.
Trophy.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Well, that should change.
They send you a picture of a ring that spins around on an Instagram story.
Wow. I don't know. In some ways, this is kind of an exciting development to this racing series because I can imagine a world where, like, let's say you've got regular folks on this system racing, like my 12-year-old, and he wins some challenge and he gets to race you guys, like admitting fans into the race to race against you guys. I don't know. Would that be cool or would that potentially embarrass you?
So the only thing that I think
probably both.
The problem with doing that right now is we would all get destroyed, and that is legitimately like there are some guys that do a lot of iRacing, like Sage Karam, Will Power. Will Power done something like 10,000 online races or something in iRacing, which is wild. And like those guys are going to be good no matter what. But the true simulator racing guys would probably even still beat them. And that's why, like, right now, our races, we're keeping them just to the IndyCar field so we can focus on that. But there are races going on all throughout the day, every night on iRacing, where there are a lot of kids and sim racers who do it, for a living that do race against us if we, jump into a random race like that.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, I lost my temper last night with this car that my son prepped. He said, I specially prepped it. I changed the balance in the springs. I put this wing on it. He goes, you're really going to like this one. And I was at Road Atlanta and went off on turn 4. And I just said, the hell with this. This doesn't handle like a car. And my wife said, he just wants you to race with him. I go, but it doesn't race like a car. I don't know what I'm doing. You might as well put a blindfold on me and send me around the track. I can't. Anyway, there's a real season, right? The NTT IndyCar series has a real schedule. When does that schedule start? When do you guys plan on or hope to plan to start racing again?
Well, right now, I mean, we are scheduled to start in June at Texas.
First weekend of June, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so hopefully, hopefully we can do that. I think a lot of our teams, as far as I've seen recently, a lot of teams are here in Indiana, and they should be able to get back to work by something like May 4th, potentially, or something around there. So the teams are going to have to go through a lot to, continue to prep the cars. Obviously, no one's been doing anything for a very long time. And I really, really do hope we can go racing in June. But I know, it's a 15 race schedule, which is going to be great. And if we can do that, that'll be awesome. It'll certainly make the best of the situation. But again, I think everyone is still taking it one day at a time and kind of adjusting on the fly.
Right. Alex, how long is it going to take you to get back up to speed in a car? Like, I know if you're a stand-up comedian, it's like maybe it's probably going to take you 2 or 3 months of getting out there every night to kind of get back to where you were. What about you in a car?
I'd say it depends on how many bad habits I pick up from the virtual racing.
Like Oreos? Like eating Oreos?
No, like just
drinking bourbon?
Well, yeah, for sure the bourbon part. But no, in all seriousness, probably under 10 laps, I would say. So
really?
5 minutes. Yeah.
Just right back.
Yeah, I mean, you got to remember this is something that is such a muscle memory type thing in the first place. I know it's cliche to say, but it's just like riding a bike. You get back into the car, and as soon as your kind of eyes and mind readapt to the sensation of speed, because that's really the biggest thing, is just kind of your eyes slowing everything down again. What you're doing with your feet and hands kind of just comes naturally. So I don't think it'll take long at all. I haven't had to be out of the car for this long. So
what about you, Connor? What do you think?
Well, I mean, for me, it's a new team that I'm driving for this year. So I was hoping to, I've done. We didn't get to a ton of testing in the preseason. The rookies got a little bit more than I think us. Technically, it's been for me 1.3 days with this new team. So I was hoping to at least start getting a couple races under our belts before we really start to get to know each other. And yeah, we're going to have to dive right into the deep end with no testing at all. Just show up to the race weekend. It is going to be hard, honestly. I think that is going to be really challenging for a lot of people. Because as Alex said, I don't think any driver in a very long time. I mean, I have gone this long without driving before, only because I've been part-time for the last 2 years. But now we're back to full-time. So a lot of drivers, if you think about Scott Dixon, he's done 900 IndyCar seasons or something in a row. I don't think he's ever gone this long without driving. Yeah. So it will be very interesting, and it will potentially be a variable in what happens in the first few races. But you also got to think that this is what we have been doing our entire lives. This is what we do. We know it when we show up, we got to do our jobs to the best of our ability. It doesn't matter if you've been sitting on the sidelines for a year or 2 days. You got to go out there and be able to put everything on the line. And that's what we're going to do.
Young Jack Ferriston has just walked into the office here. He can't. He's very excited to see you guys, and he has a question for you that he wants you to clear up. Go ahead, Jack. Right into the mic, right there.
What do you think?
Closer, right there.
What do you think the difference between an Indy car and a Formula One car is?
It's a good question, man. I think the simplest answer is just the money. So a Formula One team can spend anywhere from $200 to $400 million a year to go racing and build race cars, whereas an IndyCar team spends anywhere from $5 to $8 million. Right, so it's a tenth of the cost. And so with that money, there comes just a lot of technology. Formula One cars are at the cutting edge and the peak of technology every single year, because every single year they build a new car. Whereas IndyCar, we kind of reuse the same car. It has updates, we put new parts on it and it gets a little bit faster or safer. But ultimately, this car we've been running it for almost 7 years. Wow. And this engine we've been running for a decade, right? So the car is still a lot faster than when it first came out, because teams get smarter, drivers get better, technology gets better. But maybe we've only seen a 1 or 2 second improvement in lap time, whereas Formula One has seen 7 or 8 seconds. So it's just our cars are pretty much the same for a long period of time.
Connor there doesn't like the feedback on the steering wheel like me. He and I don't like that. And he's on Twitch. So respect. Now get out of here. I got to do a podcast.
See you, man.
Tell me about this Air Force partnership you have with the new car that you were getting to, Connor.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. The Air Force, this will be the third year in a row, with them as our primary sponsor, which is really cool. The program's grown every year. They were sort of dipping their toe in the water at the Indy 500 in 2018 when I lost my ride with Foyt, and they were really the ones who sort of saved me. So that was really cool. Being able to really use that partnership and grow it. Bring a lot of recognition to some incredible veterans and some incredible servicemen and women, which is really cool. And they love it. And the cars look really cool. That's one of the most important parts. As long as your car looks cool, everyone's very motivated by it. So that's been something that we've really enjoyed. And yeah, we can't wait to get it out and get it on track, this year officially.
Do you feel like I do that Dave really was the first to grow the quarantine beard, David Letterman? That
Absolutely.
He had it ahead of everybody?
He's been rocking it, though, for a while, and it's been very, very impressive. Like, super.
I wonder if he's going to shave it just to go counterintuitive during the quarantine. Alex, are you still doing your podcast? You still doing episodes?
Yeah, man, I am. We actually last week we had a bourbon kind of theme podcast.
Oh, cool.
Where we sampled 4 different types of bourbon, and we kind of did quarantine tasting over the internet. So yeah, man, it's good. It's a terrible podcast.
It's Off Track with Hinch and Rossi. I came on. I really liked it.
Oh,
no,
thanks,
you had a producer, you had a format, you had fun things to do. It was probably in my top 3 favorite podcasts to be on.
Well,
there was some thinking behind it.
I'm surprised.
Unlike
really
this.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No, it was a lot of fun. And it says here, I have your bios in front of me, but I'm looking, there's a lot of stuff. What are you doing? I'll start with you, Alex. Like, for me out here and for us out here, we have, we're all at home, but we have this beautiful California weather. We have essential tasks like groceries, and you can combine a vintage car with an essential task. So, like today, I have to go grocery shopping. So I'm going to take an 82 Targa out and, go to the grocery store farthest away from my house in Malibu somewhere and have a drive. Are you cycling right now?
I am cycling. I'm cycling indoors because, again, this is the Midwest and not California.
But it's 70 today. You can't go out and go for a ride?
I definitely could today. What happened, Spike, about 2.5 weeks ago was there was a big rainstorm, big Midwest thunderstorm, and I came down to an inch of water in my basement. So that's taken up a significant amount of my time the past couple of weeks. But we've got it figured out now, and it's all resolved. But it's been a hell on earth trying to deal with like normal life stuff.
Are you there by yourself, or is the girl with you?
No, she's here.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Did you make her
water or basements? But
no, I'm going to be painting later today after I do the grocery shopping. So
you get it.
I get it.
I've got a gym at my house, which is very convenient.
Oh, that's great.
So able to stay in shape, and it's not bad.
What about you, Connor? What are you up to? How are you passing the time?
I don't have a basement, so thankfully that has not been an issue. For me, honestly, my team owner, Ed Carpenter, he lives just down the road, and we train together every morning. So he's got a gym there, and I go over, we work out together, which has been good because he's a great team owner because he's also still a driver as well. So he knows how important it is to kind of keep a little bit of a physical fitness schedule. And that's really the only person I've seen during this whole thing. So it's been good to go over there and be able to work out, interact. And then other than that, it's pretty much play video games for the entire day. There's not much else. I have played Call of Duty for no less than 6 to 8 hours a day.
And we can follow you on Twitch doing that?
Oh, yeah, twitch.tv/Conor Daly 22. It's quite a wild ride. But yeah, honestly, there's not really much else to do. Like my family does live 45 minutes from me. Like they're not far away. Like, went over there for Easter dinner, had a little weekend there a day. But But honestly, yeah, it's just try to stay fit, try to stay at least motivated by something, which a lot of this e-racing has, because it is, if Alex is doing it, I got to do it. And then if these other guys are doing it, I got to do it. So it's not been necessarily boring. I mean, I'm going to go crazy very soon. But
it happened regardless.
But it might have happened regardless. Yeah. So I'm excited to go outside and potentially do activities. I look forward to the first dinner that I can have with other people. Potentially a finely crafted cocktail by someone else other than myself.
There you go.
So we'll see.
Do you guys find it easier to stay? I mean, there's some of us that find it much easier to stay in shape here because that's all you have to do is work out. I'm kind of in the middle. Like, I can work out twice a day, but then at night it kind of gets to me, and suddenly I'm on Netflix eating peanut M&Ms by the pillowcase. You guys look like you're in great shape. Like, you're really, being disciplined. Is that because the season is upon us, or?
Well, the thing is, like, that's kind of our jobs as race car drivers inherently, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, if you look at how many times we are in a car a year, it's probably 50 or 60 days a year. And then what do you do for the other 300 days, right?
Right.
So training and having a regimen from that standpoint has already kind of existed for us for a really long time. So this is kind of just an extended off season. Like, we never got our first race. So it's not like we got all ramped up and then now we're waiting again. Like, it's just kind of as if the season never started or never was supposed to start.
Right.
The only weird thing is just, it's just mentally strange not having human interaction, right?
Right.
That's the biggest thing that I think everyone's dealing with. And in a way, I think that when racing and sports returns, it's going to be an even more kind of glorious return because of it, because people are going to be so excited. And, like all of us, we took it for granted, right? To a certain extent of how easy it was to go to a ball game or whatever, or go to a race. And so now when it's finally allowed, whenever that may be, I think it's going to be actually really good for a lot of sports because people are going to be so excited just to be able to have the opportunity to do it again.
There you go. Well said, gentlemen. Round 5 of the 6-race IndyCar iRacing Challenge is going to take place virtually at Circuit of the Americas on Saturday, April 25th. The 4th race is this weekend at Twin Ring Motegi. I don't think we're hitting that one because I'm posting the show Wednesday, so it'll just be this weekend. Yes, gentlemen, thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. I don't know how you found the time to come on the show.
It was tough. Yeah.
It's been a pleasure catching up with both of you, Conor. Very nice to meet you. I will see you on Twitch. I'm inspired by your Call of Duty playing. Both you guys are my son's heroes. He's so excited to have met you. And good luck this Saturday virtually, and good luck with the new season.
Right on, man. Thank you. Appreciate it.
And that's all we have for you, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next week on Spike's Car Radio.
Thanks for listening to Spike's Car Radio, brought to you by Hangar 56. Listen to new episodes every Wednesday, and be sure to subscribe on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.